Hello, you're watching Telecom TV. I'm Janica Bojađeva and we're currently at Mobile World Congress 2023 in Barcelona. I'm now happy to be joined by Scott Lewis, VP of Phoenix Tower International, and Patrik Westfalk from Comba International. Hi, thank you very much for joining me today.
Hi, Jani.
So first off, Patrik, what are the products that you're showcasing here at MWC and what would you highlight the most?
So, Jani, the main theme of the show for us this year is sustainability and shared infrastructure. So, if we take a few examples, we're showcasing our new antenna platform, where we take a complete life cycle assessment on sustainability from raw material all the way until the antenna goes end of use, right? Apart from that, we have our new DAS family coming out, where you can add 4G and 5G together with up to 12 RF bands in one single unit. And apart from that, we also have our Open RAN radios, the new ones, the triple bands, where we support all the RATs out there. So we're on par with the incumbents, let's say, both in terms of service parity as well as energy consumption. But maybe if I have to choose one area, I would probably go for our new small cell family, 4G and 5G for private networks. I think that's soon going to be a killer application here in Europe specifically.
So now, Scott, tell us about Phoenix Tower International and your global expansion.
Well, first of all, thank you for hosting us, and thank you for having me here. Phoenix Tower is almost 10 years old. We're in over 20 countries globally. We're a shared infrastructure company. We're a tower company, which means we own and operate infrastructure that multiple operators can share. My role is to help us invest capital for the next generation of wireless. So Patrik mentioned private networks. We think private networks are very interesting for mobile network operators and for enterprise businesses. We're also very interested in expanding the footprint of wireless with 5G into more buildings.
And are you trying to go beyond building and operating towers for MNOs and enter, for example, the private network space? And if so, what kind of solutions and verticals are you thinking of, and what are the challenges there?
So big question. I'll address one thing. We like to be the most important customer servicing tower company in our market. So for example, in the Dominican Republic, we have good market share, we have deep relationships there. And in that country, it's a hospitality destination around the world. So we focus mostly on serving our customers with new towers and with new DAS systems in hotels, for example, in a country like Dominican Republic. Every market's quite different, and private networks is something we're studying in, I would say, the US is the first market we'll look at for private networks. We're owned by some Blackstone investment funds, and with that real estate, there may be some opportunities, and also a couple of our UK markets like Ireland.
We know Comba International as an RF and antenna supplier for MNOs, but can you tell us what solutions might be suitable for partners like PTI?
Okay, so maybe I'll focus on two of the solutions we have for a company such as PTI. We have been working for many years with the TowerCo industry, which is quite different from the MNOs. And the way we started off with the TowerCo segment has been traditionally with our DAS solutions. It's closest to what our core is about. So it's shared infrastructure in terms of bringing, well, when we started 2G, 3G, but now it's 4G, 5G, to large venues, metros, stadiums, and such, right? And when we do that, we always go hand in hand with PTI or other TowerCos, because they will eventually own this infrastructure and lease it out to the MNOs. And maybe a second area where we're exploring now, specifically with Scott and PTI, is the private network arena, where the MNOs may be involved in some cases, but in many other cases, such as in Germany and France and even in UK, there's spectrum dedicated for the enterprises. So as we are not an enterprise provider, we tend to go with someone that can host and own the infrastructure and also maintain it over the years. Yeah. So that would be the two areas where we...
Two good ones.
Yeah.
So, Scott, what is your opinion and strategy for network as a service? And what will be the benefit for MNOs and private enterprises?
Network as a service is a very popular subject at this show. It's even more so than last year. I'd say there's in 2 countries we operate in. I'll give you some examples. In the U.S., there's probably a dozen companies that think that network as a service is interesting. We've seen one large global tower company purchase the radio access network of a large telco in Western Europe, offering it as a service. It's an interesting idea for us as a tower company. I'd say we'll study it. It's a little bit adjacent from our core business, but it's where some of our customers would like us to go.
So, Patrik, what is your perspective on the private network segment, and how would these customers be different from your traditional customers?
Yeah, so maybe I briefly spoke about it in the last question. Well, it's different in many senses. First of all, perhaps it's a huge market because you have thousands of enterprises out there, right? And our sales organization is probably not set up to attend them directly. So you have to go after certain verticals, and in these verticals find the correct partner to work with, SIs or tower cos, etc. That maybe, as you said, you're in the hospitality industry in Dominican Republic, maybe the automotive industry in Germany, and so on. And there is a second difference also. Attending these customers, they aren't really into radio. They don't care about the radio as such. They want to see efficiency for their factory or their end users using their venues, right? And so they want to have a complete solution. They don't want to go into the details of, capacity, etc. They want to see how they can monetize based on what we provide to them.
So Yanni, Patrik just made a terrific point. Selling to enterprises is very different than selling to mobile network operator customers. The sales process is different for both the supplier, the original equipment manufacturer, OEM, and for tower companies. Our business model has historically not been enterprise business focused. So that's why it's so important for both companies to connect and partner together to deliver a service.
There's still buzz around openness in the RAN, but still MNOs are a bit cautious. What is your view on Open RAN, and what would it take for it to be deployed at larger scale?
I think what we've seen over the past few years is that there has been a bunch of large greenfield rollouts, right? So new networks, most of them maybe 5G only. And the phase we're entering now, at least in Europe, is a brownfield scenario where we have to replace the incumbents, which is a bit more difficult because we have been searching for, or they search for, service parity, right? If they have a service today, they cannot, back off that service. They have to keep on that service. And I think over the past 12 months, with our new radios, we are now there and beyond, both in terms of service parity, as well as size of our radios, and also the energy consumption. So from a radio perspective, at least for 4G, where we are strong, there's nothing missing from the radio perspective. Maybe what we're missing is a little bit how the ecosystem cooperates, because Open RAN, as you said, is all about openness. So we are just one of the pieces in the puzzle, right? We do the radio and the software that comes with the radio, but someone else is doing the DU, baseband, and the orchestration, etc. And to make it all come together in a cost-efficient way, probably we need to iterate a little bit more to get there. But it's getting closer and closer by the day. Yeah. And we have a bunch of interesting POCs going on in Europe, and hopefully later this year also some commercial deployments.
And Scott, do you have any recommendations for products and solutions for suppliers like Comba that can help PTI grow its market share?
Oh, your question's about how suppliers like Comba can help us drive more market share for both of us. And digital infrastructure companies, tower companies, we specialize in building assets that can be shared. And so to the extent that Open RAN, Patrik just answered some questions about Open RAN, can be a commercialized technology in the next 5 or 10 years for both in-building DAS applications and for outdoor 5G deployments, we feel like it will give our customers, our mobile network operator customers, a more cost-effective platform to build more infrastructure with us. It's a win-win-win. And so I would say the focus here at Comba on Open RAN enabling technologies would be my number one priority.
I think that maybe that can become a game changer for companies such as yourself, because you would have more freedom, not depending on the incumbents when you do your projects, right? You can do and own more of the whole infrastructure yourself. So that could be
Exactly.
a way to accelerate this whole thing with indoor and venues and so on.
Those are some great insights there. Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Patrik
Yanni.
and Scott.
Thank you, Yanni.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good show.